We all know the 6th Optimism airdrop is coming. Many of us unintentionally qualified for the 5th Optimism airdrop, but this next one could be the biggest that we've ever seen. So, in this video, we will explain the ins and outs of the eligibility requirements and provide you with a complete guide on how to qualify for the 6th Optimism airdrop. Nonetheless, nothing in this video is financial advice. We are not financial advisors. Do not invest in anything you can't afford to lose. Use a burner wallet for extra security and always conduct your own research. Before we begin, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button to support our channel and stay up to date with the latest crypto guides, reviews, news, technical analysis, and so much more. Friends, let's jump straight into the video. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going for that 6th Optimism airdrop, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through a complete guide on how to qualify for the 6th Optimism airdrop, which in my opinion, I think it is going to be revolved around the Superchain. Why do I say this? Well, they've been bringing out a lot of updates regarding the Superchain. They have made it their sole focus, and therefore I think that will be the core of the 6th Optimism airdrop. Now, one reason I'm saying this is because, as you can see here, one token, one Superchain. They're making the Superchain the core of the entire ecosystem. Like I said, we have now got Superchain ERC20s, which are new tokens enabled to move across every Superchain network. Now, for those who don't know what a Superchain network, it is basically a collective of networks of which utilize the OP stack. Now, there are many networks that utilize the OP stack, and it is not just Optimism, of course. As you can see over on their Superchain ecosystem page down below, we've got the OP mainnet, which is of course Optimism. We've got Inc, we've got Unichain, we've got Soneium Mode, Zora, Swell, Arena Z, Metal L2, Base, WorldChain, Lisk, Polynomial, Mint, Superseed, Shape, Epic Chain, Race, Bob, Derive, Exterio, Redstone, Swan, Hashkey, Orderly, Cyber, Funky, Binary, Automata, and CeeLo. What the guys, we've got a serious amount of different networks within the ecosystem of Superchain, of which if we interact with all of these, or as many as we possibly can, the bigger and better airdrop we'll receive. Now, we know there's more airdrops coming, and why can we say this? Well, looking directly at their Superchain ecosystem website, we've got user airdrops remaining, 549.43 million tokens allocated for the community. That is us. And we've also got 134 million tokens for the governance, 798 for the retro funding, and 250 give or take for the partner and seed funds. Now guys, this is absolutely fantastic. This is a huge allocation of which will be left for the Optimism community, and therefore by interacting with Optimism, Inc, Unichain, Soneium, Base, we are helping ourselves not qualify for those airdrops, but also of course the 6th Optimism airdrop. Now, I actually qualified for the 5th Optimism airdrop, which was unintentional, but that was just by interacting with Optimism and many other Superchain networks. I personally believe this will be the same case with the 6th Optimism airdrop, but it's going to be even bigger in my opinion. Now, as you can see over on their last tweet, which happened on the 9th of October 2024, surrounding the 5th airdrop, today Optimism unveiled the 5th airdrop. On-chain together, benefit together. 10 million OP tokens have been allocated to 54,000 plus unique addresses. As of today, roughly 550 OP remains for future airdrops. So, we don't know whether or not that is going to be 10 million tokens for the 6th Optimism airdrop, or 100 million, or 50 million, or even the whole thing. I don't think it's going to be the whole thing. I think there are going to be many more airdrops in the future. This is one of the most rewarding networks out there, guys, and they've got one of the most outstanding layer 2 ecosystems, not just with networks, but also applications too. I'm very fond of Optimism. I always have been, and I've been here for a very long time using the Optimism network and ecosystem. So what we're going to do is, guys, the first step is we're going to show you that we need to obviously interact with these networks. However, we will come back to this. But what we need to do is very simply head over to the governance. Now, what we want to do is when we are here, we want to stay up to date with all of the latest governance proposals. By voting on all of these governance proposals, guys, we are obviously helping the governance of the Optimism network. And therefore, by delegating tokens and therefore by voting on all proposals, we can help ourselves with the Optimism airdrops. So, friends, this is the governance, and all you will need to do is very simply vote where you can, like I said. But the next step we want to show you is on Layer 3. Now, Layer 3 is another platform of which we've been qualifying for their airdrop. However, we have exactly 8 days to participate in this campaign from Layer 3, which is the Superchain enjoyers. However, as you can see here, we've got a huge variety of different applications across various different networks that we can utilize in order to get some transactions and volume stacked up on the Optimism ecosystem. So, for example, we've got Hyperlane, Bungee, Unichain, Base, DeFi Llama, Layer 3 with L2B, another Layer 3 one, Othos, CeeLo, Velodrome, Fragstall, Redstone, Inc., Zora, and others, guys. So we've got a huge amount of different quests that we can complete in order to get ourselves some transactions. So we can get an extra amount of transactions just by completing these quests, minting ourselves a cube, and getting ourselves XP. So this is going to earn us various different airdrops from protocols such as Hyperlane, obviously Layer 3, the platform we are on, obviously Optimism because this is the Superchain, and of course even networks and protocols that we may interact with such as Bungee, Base, DeFi Llama, L2B, and other tokenless protocols. This is absolutely awesome. So why don't we start off with our first step, and this is not going to be on Layer 3, but very simply to utilize the native bridge of the Optimism Superchain ecosystem, and that is the Superbridge. And we have two options when we are here. These are two bridges of which Optimism recommend. As we can see here, we've got Brid.gg and Superbridge. Now the most popular seems to be the Superbridge, as this is the direct gateway to every network in the Superchain ecosystem. So as you can see here, we need to utilize an EVM wallet, of which we have. You need to ensure that you have Ethereum tokens on, for example, Ethereum, Optimism, Base, or any Layer 2 network within the Superchain ecosystem. So to begin with, as you can see, on the left-hand side, we need to choose a network to bridge from. So depending on what network you have your ETH tokens on, if you have them on a various range of networks, which you probably should if you've been following our airdrop tutorials, then you can very simply choose any of the networks down below. So we can see all of the different various networks of which are available in the Superchain ecosystem, but we are very simply going to start our journey off with Base. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to bridge over to a network. So it could be Optimism, it could be Unichain, Zora, Soneium, and so on. I'm just going to choose Optimism as our prime example. Next, all we need to do is very simply choose an amount. So guys, all you want to do is very simply bridge to and from a wide range of different Superchain networks. By utilizing this bridge, not only may we qualify for the Optimism airdrop, but we may also qualify for a Superbridge airdrop and even a Base airdrop. So this is 3 airdrops in one, guys, just by doing this one transaction. Although it's only roughly a $20 transaction, the more that you can do, the better off you will be. But of course, this is just a tutorial. So as you can see, it is now going to move over from Base over to Optimism, and therefore that is one transaction that we've done in the Superchain ecosystem. That is the whole focus of this video. Stack up those transactions and build up as much volume as you can on as many different protocols and as many different networks as you possibly can. And we are going to be getting bonus transactions, like I said, by utilizing Layer 3, which is also going to help us guide through the ecosystem of Superchain. So to start off with, guys, why don't we just do this Hyperlane one? As you can see here, bridge from any superchain to any superchain using Nexus powered by Hyperlane. Eligible source networks: Base, Optimism, Mode, Unichain, and Inc. So a source network is the network that you are bridging from, and the destination network is the network that you are bridging to, just as an FYI. So we're going to open up Nexus, and we've used Nexus when we were doing the Hyperlane airdrop tutorial. So the great news is we are also going to be helping ourselves qualify for the Hyperlane airdrop, as well as, of course, the Optimism airdrop. So I'm going to be using my same EVM wallet because that is what is required. The Superchain is on the EVM. Next, we are going to very simply choose our networks, and therefore I'm going to choose one of the available networks, which is going to be Optimism, now that we've got our ETH tokens from Base to Optimism. Next, we are going to choose a network to bridge to. Now, it did say any network that is a Superchain network. So it could be Base, it could very simply be Optimism, it could very simply be Inc., it could very simply be Mint. It's entirely up to you, but let's just say, for example, we pick the Unichain. Now, the only token that we can move is Easy ETH. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to utilize another platform at the same time, which is in the Superchain ecosystem, and that is Velodrome Finance, probably the leading decentralized exchange in the Optimism ecosystem, and of course the Superchain ecosystem. What we're going to do is we're going to use the same EVM wallet that we've been using, of course. We need to make sure we're swapping our ETH tokens on the Optimism network, and we also need to ensure that we're swapping into Easy ETH, of which we can search in the search bar. Here we can see that it's available on the Optimism network. So I'm choosing around $10, and boom, we are now swapping ETH for Easy ETH. That is another transaction in the Superchain. That is another transaction on the native Optimism network. Fantastic. Next step, go back over to Nexus. As you can see, we've now got our Easy ETH. So I'm just going to very simply choose an amount. I'm going to choose the entire amount, and I'm now going to click self because I want to send it to my wallet address, which I can confirm in my EVM wallet up top. However, once you are ready, you're just very simply going to click continue, and you are going to bridge over from Optimism to Unichain. Awesome. Just like that, guys. This is another transaction. This has been 2 transactions that we needed to do for this Nexus bridge, which is swapping from ETH into Easy ETH and then moving that Easy ETH from Optimism over to the Unichain. That is beautiful. That is another transaction. But for a bonus transaction, we're now going to go back over to layer 3. We're going to click verify because we did bridge over from the Optimism network to the Unichain network. And now we are very simply going to get another transaction on Optimism by minting this cube, which is an NFT, alongside some XP for, of course, our airdrop on layer 3. Awesome. Back to Superchain ecosystem campaign. What's next on the list? Well, we can go over to Bungee. It's entirely up to us. And therefore, all it asks us to do is swap on Superchain. Swap any assets on base Optimism mode, Soneium via Bungee Auto. Okay, cool. Let's do exactly that. We're going to head over to Bungee. We're very simply going to utilize this platform just by very simply swapping any token into any token. We could swap into wrapped stake Ethereum. We could swap into more Optimism tokens, or we could swap even into USDCE. Let's do that. I'm going to very simply swap around $6.22. I know it's not that much. That is very simply how to do it. Swap completed. Now, if we go back over to the Superchain quest, we can now get ourselves another cube, which is another transaction. This time it's going to be on the base network, which is fantastic because we want to get as many transactions and as much volume as we can on different networks within the Superchain. So it could be Optimism, it could be base, it could be Unichain, it could be Soneium. As many as we can do, the better off we will be. So that is very simply another one, guys. We can go back and we can do the Unichain. What do we have to do here? Superchain enjoyers, Unichain. Hold ETH on Unichain, which we already do. If you don't, guys, all you need to do is very simply utilize a protocol such as Superbridge in order to move assets from a different network to, of course, the Unichain. Now, what we're going to do is very simply go back over because I know I have ETH on Unichain. Next, it asks us to swap to USDC on Unichain. Therefore, we are going to swap on Unichain using the official Uniswap decentralized exchange, the leading decentralized exchange in EVM. So I'm going to very simply come here. I'm going to very simply go up top here. We need to go up to the search bar and very simply go to Unichain. Next, what we need to do is very simply swap from ETH into USDC, which I already have. Now, I'm going to choose an amount. It doesn't have to be a minimum or a maximum. There is no minimum or maximum. You can literally do $2, $1, $50, $500,000, whatever you want to do. I'm going to click swap. A nice little transaction, guys. I know it's not that much. However, of course, this is just a tutorial. Now, fantastic, guys. We have done another swap. So if we go back over to layer 3. Now, this next step is optional. So you don't exactly have to do it, and that is providing liquidity. But I must say, guys, whenever you provide liquidity or whenever you lend out assets or whenever you just provide assets into a network by staking as well, you are actually supporting that network by either A, providing liquidity so users can swap, or B, lending out assets so people can borrow them, or C, staking tokens to strengthen the network. Now, honestly, guys, it's up to you if you want to provide liquidity in Uniswap. We actually did that in the Unichain airdrop tutorial. So if you want to watch that airdrop tutorial, you can check that out in the bio down below. But we can verify that we've got assets in our liquidity pool by going over to Uniswap, going over to the pool section. If we now filter it down by Unichain, as you can see, I've got around $30 in the liquidity pool. It's not that much, guys, but it's very simply to support the network. And therefore, if you want to do that, you can watch that in our airdrop tutorial. But for now, we're going to click skip and claim our 120 XP on the Unichain. Absolutely awesome. So very simply, I'm going to now mint it once again. Fantastic. That is another quest completed, another transaction completed. Guys, we are stacking up those transactions with ease. You can very simply do this in your own time. So I could go on to each and every quest, guys, but I'm now just going to pick out a few. This one we can see with the Optimism one. This is very important because, of course, Optimism is the sole focus of this video. Superchain enjoyers OP mainnet DeFi. Collect at least 5 cubes on OP mainnet. I can definitely confirm that I've done that. I've got 193. I can click verify. Next, hold at least $25 worth of ETH in your wallet to complete this quest. I very simply do. Deposit 0.007 ETH on OP mainnet via Aave v3. So obviously, if you want to do this, you would come over here. And of course, like I mentioned just a minute ago, by providing assets such as either lending, providing liquidity, or staking, we can help ourselves qualify for an airdrop. So I'm very simply going to come over here. I'm going to very simply deposit some more by going down here. I'm going to click supply, and it asks us to deposit 0.007. So if I take this and paste it in here, it's around $15. We need to switch to OP and click supply, obviously, if you are comfortable to. Once you are ready, guys, this is going to help support the ecosystem like I mentioned, and therefore this could help you with a huge airdrop multiplier, of which could give you a boost of tokens. I'm not saying it will, guys, but it is very likely that it will. Next, it asks us to borrow, but this is of course optional. I am not going to do that. And next, we are going to once again get ourselves a nice cube and some XP. So, multiple airdrops in one, guys. This is exactly what we do around here on AltCryptoTalk. So if you're watching this right now, make sure that you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the notification bells. So, guys, we are now moving on to another quest. We could be here all day going through each and every one of these. It's entirely up to you which ones you do. The more networks that you can interact with, the better. So, for example, if we do this Superchain enjoyers on Zora, bridge or hold any amount of ETH on Zora, which we already do. If you don't, once again, you can go over to Superbridge and bridge directly over to the Zora network. Awesome. So you would come back over. Next, an optional step is to mint on Zora. So we've already done this in the past. However, if you go over to Zora and you want to check out our full Zora airdrop tutorial, which is actually confirmed, by the way, the token is coming sooner than we think. All you would do is very simply come over to Zora. If you like something you see, get your hand on it, depending on what network you want to do. Obviously, this focus of the quest is to do Zora, and therefore I'm going to get myself a little bit of tokens on the Zora network. This is a nice little transaction. It isn't costing me much, around $2, I believe. And although this was an optional step, we didn't have to do this in order to get the cube. I did it anyway because I want another transaction on Zora to help me for the upcoming airdrop for Zora, and of course the 6th Optimism airdrop. Lovely. So you can see, guys, that we are stacking up transactions on various different networks. This is exactly what we want to do. Now, the next step that I'm going to show you guys is actually something different. We're not going to go through any more quests on Superchain Enjoyers because we will be here forever, just very simply completing these very easy tasks. So I'm going to leave you to it because I believe that you'll be able to do it on your own. And in the streak section, if you scroll down, you'll be able to see some daily and weekly activities that you can complete in order to help yourselves with the Optimism and Superchain airdrops. So first of all, we see that we've got swap on base. So we can see that we've made any transaction on base to date. Next, as we can see, it says transact on the Superchain. We can confirm that because we've interacted with either OP, base, mode, or Zora. Confirmed. Continue. Next, bridge via Stargate. We will do that in a second. However, we haven't transacted on Soneium, so we want to do this as well. But basically, guys, as you can see, we've got transact on Unichain, which we can confirm. And what will happen is every single day that you complete a quest, as you can see, 3 out of 3 we've completed because we've done a transaction on Unichain 3 days consecutively. We can click continue, and now we can very simply get ourselves another cube confirming another transaction. Guys, this is helping us out very much so with the Unichain and Superchain airdrops, and therefore this is why I love to use Layer 3 and of course their streak system. So that is very simply that one. Next, guys, as you can see, another one I want to show you is GM on Ink. And I've been doing this every single day as well. As you can see, we need to perform daily check-in on the Ink network. So if you open up Ink, if you followed our Ink airdrop tutorial, you already know what this is. For some reason, it's not working right now, and therefore we'll have to come back for it. However, very simply, guys, you want to go over there and just click GM every single day. It will complete a transaction, and then you just come back over here, click verify, and you would very simply get yourselves 15 XP, and then on the 5th day, you would get another cube. That is how to get another transaction. However, very simply, guys, what we can do here is now transact on Soneium. So we can either A, open up the Soneium ecosystem, or B, directly go to an app that you know already. So let's just say, for example, we go over to Sonex. This is a popular protocol within the Soneium ecosystem. What we're going to do is we're very simply going to utilize the same wallet that we've been using. If you haven't got any ETH on the Soneium network, of course, either A, watch our Soneium airdrop tutorial, or B, head over to the Superbridge and very simply bridge from any network over to Soneium. Next, come back over, guys, very simply choose a token to swap from. I'm going to choose some ETH, and I'm going to very simply choose a token to swap into. It could be USDC.E, it could be very simply A-Star. I'm going to choose just USDC for this example. I'm now going to choose around 0.002, very simply swap it, and boom, the transaction is completed. We can now go back over to Streaks, verify that we've done a transaction on Soneium, and boom, come back over next week in order to do the Soneium quest. However, guys, you want to interact with as many of these as possible. The next one that you can do is bridge via Stargate. We also have a LayerZero airdrop tutorial, which is going to be the 2nd round, and we believe that is coming very soon. And therefore, by utilizing this quest, you can also qualify for another airdrop. Guys, we have qualified for multiple different airdrops in this video just by interacting with many different protocols and networks, and therefore this is probably one of the most powerful airdrop tutorials that you'll be watching this year. This is obviously not financial advice, guys, but we've been interacting with so much. If we just open up Stargate now, guys, it asks us to use the bridge and use USDC. So what we're going to do is we're going to very simply utilize one of these networks. And if we go over to transfer, if we go to the USDC or token on our OP mainnet, which we got our hands on earlier, we are now going to bridge over to another network. It could be Base, it could be any other network, but let's just choose Base for our example. We're now going to use the USDC that we have, and we now just have to transfer it, and it is as simple as that. So guys, as you can see, that is another transaction on the Optimism network. That is another transaction on the LayerZero protocol, and that is another transaction overall in the Superchain ecosystem. This was the whole focus of the video, guys. So all you need to do is very simply do this quest if, of course, you want to qualify for 2 airdrops in one. However, guys, you verify that quest, and then all you want to do is, and very simply, guys, all you want to do is stack up those transactions in the Superchain ecosystem. The next airdrop is coming. Number 6 is confirmed. We may have over 10 airdrops coming from Optimism, guys. We don't exactly know, but there's around 550 million tokens ready for more airdrops, and therefore, by interacting with all of these networks that you can see down here, or as many as you possibly can, and by interacting with as many different protocols, and by stacking up those cubes over on layer 3, these are all going to help you to qualify for the airdrop. Now guys, there is so much more that we could potentially do. However, we've gone through so many different protocols, so many different networks. We think this would be a great start. Now, whether or not it's going to be ending on the 8th of April and there will be a snapshot from the Superchain ecosystem, I don't exactly know. But what I do know is that this campaign will end on the 8th of April, and therefore you have until that time in order to use all of these campaign quests and get more transactions. However, guys, I don't think it will end there. By continuously utilizing these networks and protocols, even after the 6th Optimism airdrop, will continuously help you to qualify for more airdrops along the way. Also, guys, you could very simply vote on the governance proposals like we've shown you earlier. This is another crucial factor, we believe. But all in all, guys, the main focus are the transactions and the volume that you use on different networks within the Superchain ecosystem. Guys, we hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button because it really shows support on our channel. We appreciate every single one of you. And if you're looking for any specific airdrop tutorial or review or anything whatsoever related to crypto, let us know in the comment section down below. But friends, we'll see you in the next video.